What's up, everybody? It's Calavid, and I'm narrating the match between Cyberas and Arctic. So Cyberas is an up-and-coming player who has played in the last season of Mushi League. Actually, I wanted to draft him in that season because I had played him a few times on ladder, and those were some nice matches. And he's done pretty well in Mushi League, yeah. Arctic is a more established player who has played in Callus Invitational twice, I think, and brings some of the most crazy teams you've seen all around, heavily leaning towards defense a lot of the time though. So I'm curious to see how this one plays out. Let's get into it. Okay, we got Tar lead and Swampert lead. Swampert is a bit of an unorthodox lead, and usually it indicates something more on the defensive side, and you just don't have a better lead, but it can be offense too. Okay, let's see. And Cyberas obviously doesn't like staying in there, though Arctic is also careful of an HP grass here. So Cyberas goes into Snorlax to scout that grass, and Arctic switches into Magneton, expecting a Skarmory to potentially come in on a water type attack or an earthquake. And it also covers the HP grass switch here. Okay, now Arctic probably wants to get out because, yeah, losing Magneton when there might still be a Skarmory is pretty bad. And Cyberas knows this, goes for a very smart focus punch and chunks that Skarmory here. Does not stay in and just go for more focus punches, wants to lay that on that pressure with a Charizard here, and it's a substitute Charizard while the arrow switches in, so yeah, that's gonna have to take a focus punch. Arctic doesn't have a really nice Charizard switch here, but he might be able to out-offense this Charizard because we have a Tyranitar lead, Snorlax and Charizard indicates something like mixed offense. So if Arctic plays very proactively here, he can definitely win that for sure. Now it's just Claydol on Skarmory Mind Games. Does the Skarmory have Toxic or Drill Peck? It's Drill Peck. So the Claydol probably should switch here, and Skarmory is either gonna Drill Peck or get another Spike Up. Drill Peck here is pretty safe, yeah. Get some more damage on the Charizard. Luckily does not put it in Blaze. And yeah, that is a really nice Blissey here because, well, Cyberas could have stopped there and it would have put him into Blaze actually. So I feel like substitute there was a pretty decent play, and it would have heavily punished Blissey, but since Cyberas didn't do it, it was a nice switch from Arctic. And I suppose Blissey would have lived one punch anyway and then threatened the Charizard out perhaps. I'm not sure about Blaze Fire Blast ranges there. And yeah, since it's Drill Peck Skarmory, you can't really stay in that well with Snorlax. If Claydol comes in on a spike, Skarmory doesn't care that much. And Cyberas is just forced to boom here, which is pretty decent though because Arctic didn't actually get any spikes up, and the Magneton doesn't have the best matchup here either because it doesn't seem like there's a Skarmory. And it's actually a physical Swampert, so this is something cool you can do with Magneton. With Swampert plus Magneton, you don't actually have to use a water type move, and you can use some funky stuff like Curse physical sets. And that's bulky enough to take an HP grass too. So yeah, we might be looking at a Curse Pert here. Charizard has to go down to chunk that one. And Tyranitar, being the best Swampert answer, is not too nice either here. Okay, Starmie is in... Oh, it's an SD Pass team actually. Yeah, I could have thought that was gonna happen when I saw the Celebi last. Makes sense with the physical Swampert too. It's a Protect Pert as well. So maybe not curse after all. And yeah, this arrow is looking like a massive, massive threat here. Catches the Claydol switch to with an HP bug, takes that right out. Cyberas was fine going for that because he knew he had Metagross in the back which would live. And now he can actually set up an agility. And Arctic's in a tight spot here. Swampert with its Protect can still gain some lefties here to potentially take 2 EQs here. Ah, no. That spread won't do it, and obviously one single EQ doesn't kill. So I think Arctic has to protect here a few times and do some switch stalling. Maybe then if you sack... Blissey? Yeah, I guess Blissey can take 1 EQ, but... then you're looking really, really threatened by Starmie. I felt like sacking Magneton was the play there, but I'm not sure. I don't think Magneton does a heck of a lot. Maybe it is a spread that still lives Starmie. Oh my god. Arctic catches a Boom with a Protect here, which I felt like was a pretty obvious turn to just Protect and maybe get out of that Metagross range because everything else was going to die anyway. So I'm not sure if I like the explosion here. Maybe Starmie can win anyway here though, since the Swampert is low and had to Protect here. Let's see, is this Magneton bulky enough to live a Hydro? Cyberas doesn't want to go in that risk and just goes Tyranitar, which lives the EQ. And it's looking like Cyberas has won this actually. Unless Hydro doesn't kill, which it is arranged with Min Spidef Magneton, I think, and Cyberas gets that range. Well played there. I guess, yeah, maybe the Boom was a really, really smart play actually if you just said, well, Hydro Pump kills from there anyway and I just pick up a kill with Pumps, but then you have to hit Pumps. I would have personally just gone for an EQ. And, yeah. Fair enough. Then the Swampert would have been low too, so... I feel like that was a more obvious line, but maybe I'm missing something here. Cyberas going up 1-0. Let's see if Arctic gets defeated 2-0 here, or if he can bring it to a game 3. Let's get into the next match. Suicune lead versus Tyranitar. Another Tyranitar lead from Cyberas. Definitely wants to switch out of this Coon here. Suicune can both be just a defensive Pokemon here on very slow-paced teams that don't have a better lead, but it can also be off Coon, sometimes even with Selakberry. So Cyberas has to see what this Coon wants to do. Calm Mind doesn't reveal anything. And yeah, this is looking more like a offensive Coon with that Ice Beam damage, yeah. That Celebi is gonna chunk it, but won't be able to take it out because it was missing 1 turn, right? Because Suicune had 1 turn up on it. And yeah, it seems like this is just a special offense team, which Suicune is very often just an offensive lead on, because it pressures Blissey and then you can pick it off with Duck Trio, or it just chunks or straight up beats Celebi. That Celebi didn't seem too offensive, by the way. And a Toxic Jirachi takes 54 from that EQ. Is it just gonna protect? Yeah, it's just gonna be a Fiarachi, I suppose. Might be able to live another Protect here. Or you just go Fortress. Maybe it also isn't actually a special offense, since there's a Fortress here and it was just like modest Surf Ice Beam Coon with the rest perhaps. But then I'm surprised that the Celebi didn't outspeed. Maybe it's just a really, really defensive Celebi because it also didn't deal that much damage with Giga Drain, actually. I think that's the more likely scenario here. Especially with the Fortress and the Firachi revealed, this should just be more of a defensive Suicune then, right? Fortress is gonna sacrifice itself to get one spike here and to guarantee that Jirachi gets out of range from an EQ here. And yeah, there's also a Celebi. Oh my god, and Jirachi sets up a substitute here. It's faster than the Celebi 2, which we can see from the leftovers, so it's gonna start Calm Minding here. And the Celebi is not looking too good. Arctic is forced to switch here and has a Tyranitar. Is it gonna be EQ? Roar? Has to eat an HP Grass here and it's gonna be EQ. That's the Jirachi answer. Should be able to live one more HP Grass, so Cyberas just gets out at this point. Into Skarmory. So Cyberas is gonna get a spike up here. That was a very clean sequence by Cyberas, in my opinion. And yeah, he's actually gonna get all 3 layers up here, and Fortress is dead, so the Spinner is gone too, so these are here to stay. Aerodactyl is looking incredibly threatening here, because Celebi isn't, Jirachi isn't the best rock resist into it. And Skarmory is even gonna rack up more damage on that Celebi, so that can't even come in anymore on like a predicted EQ unless it recovers, which it does here, but then it's really, really passive too, and the arrow can come on it repeatedly. Flinch keeping Arctic in this game. Maybe another Flinch to save some health on the Tyranitar? No such luck for Arctic in this one. The Suicune is gonna have to surf here, but it's dead at this point. I was thinking he might have to rest to keep it alive. Arctic, oh, that was a nice switch. Now Celebi can recover up the damage from EQ, and Suicune is kept as a spike sack for later. Unless there's just like a clay doll in the back too. Holy voice crack. Anyway, I feel like this Jirachi on Cyberas' side is still very threatening, and the arrow could pressure everything too. Yeah, he can just sub here, and Arctic has to prevent that with a with the spike sack from Suicune here, and has to go an arrow to threaten it out. Cyberas' rock resist is revealed, and Rock Slide misses anyway. Not that it would have done a lot to swamp it, and Ice Beam is just a safe click into anything here. Do you EQ into this Jirachi? You have to take a Toxic though, so that makes Aerodactyl a bit threatening. Oh, nice prediction from Cyberas here on the Protect too. Yeah, I guess Arctic had to either wish or Protect here, and Protect was pretty reasonable against that Pert, which was only on its second turn of Toxic, right? So Cyberas is just gonna CM here, because Fire Punch might have broken the sub if he didn't CM first, and now he's gonna be able to tank that Fire Punch actually, and could just repeatedly CM, and I think this might just be over here. Cyberas should just go for another sub here. Tyranitar is gonna take a lot from spikes here, so it's not gonna be an HP Grass answer anymore. Oh, I'm not sure if I like that Tyranitar switch. I mean, I guess staying in with Jirachi is even worse. You could fish for crits. But yeah, switching to Celebi is not gonna do you any favor here, so it's just looking over. I think you just had to hope for repeated Fire Punch crits here, and then revenge with Arrow. Or maybe Cyberas messes up on one turn. Yeah, sub CM Rachi is usually a very, very threatening Pokemon for Fortress teams. And Cyberas played that end sequence very cleanly. Maybe Arctic could have also gone for a Fire Punch on that CM and hoped for a burn. But yeah, Cyberas just takes it 2 over Arctic. Very nice gameplay here from him. And maybe the Fortress sack on the Tyranitar was Arctic's misplay here, but he also just didn't have much better into Tyranitar here. That's one reason why I don't like Jirachi as your sole rock resist personally. Nice matches though. GG's, I hope you all enjoyed. I certainly did. And see you all around. Have a good day.